so many of us, the holidays mean connection to family, connection to our childhood, to those things that make us feel so good, to those rituals that we get to do year after year. And this year, unfortunately, for a lot of us, that's just not happening. And for a lot of folks, the holidays can actually be a really triggering and hard time. So what I encourage, or that I'm doing for myself and with my family, is creating new traditions. So traditions around self-reflection and going in and asking myself, how did this year go? What did I survive? What have I overcome? What can I celebrate from the last 12 months? Doing a bit of an inventory is something that I love doing at this time of year to kind of put a nice period bow on the end of this year and to look back and say, wow, look at how much happened, how much we came through, so that we can start with a clean slate for the year ahead. And then on the holidays themselves, a good meal, indulging a little bit. Those are traditions that I enjoy over the holidays, and trying my best to rest. And I don't know about you, but for me, New Year's Eve is just such a sacred time, just to, again, look back on that inventory of things that the last year has held, and to really make space for loving on ourselves, our partners, our families, and to just plant a little seed of hope for the year ahead, which might feel counterintuitive right now. So something that we're doing, normally I go back home to Grand Prairie, Alberta. My family lives in Grand Prairie, and I have not missed a Christmas with my family in 30 years. So with that said, it's such a nice time for my husband and I, with my father-in-law and our family on this side of the country who we can see, to create new traditions and to ask ourselves, if we did have a Christmas here on our own, which we are going to have, what could that look like? We picked up a fresh cut tree from a farm nearby a couple days ago. We're taking our time with decorating the house. Part of this is the concept of hygge, which is a Danish lifestyle concept of making your soul cozy, making your home cozy to get through these dark, long winter nights, and to just make ourselves feel well through this season. So for us, that looks like nice family time together. There's a game called We're Not Really Strangers, which is just a deck of cards that asks questions that you can just pull out and start asking your partner, just to have really meaningful conversations during this time of year. And then, decorating our house, having our own turkey dinner for just our little family unit that's together, and just savoring what we can and celebrating what the traditions used to look like, and taking the pieces of those that feel really good, like even zooming in with my family during Christmas dinner and Christmas morning is something we're going to do this year. And just making the most of what is a little unexpected this year. We're not rushing as much this year. A lot of us don't have somewhere else to go. And that's something that we had habitualized for years prior to this year. So yes, that concept of savoring, of going slow, of appreciating moment to moment is going to be so good for our mental health this season, and also to just make the days matter more. So a lot of my friends are small business owners, and supporting local to me this year, it really looks like looking at the businesses my friends own, or friends of friends that are local to my city, that are local to my community. I live just outside of the village of Carp. And so little things like, for me this season, one of the gifts that I've asked for is if part of my family could help me do a flower subscription once a month with our local flower shop, because flowers bring me joy throughout the year. And so this is something that I'm doing forward looking of what's something that could consistently come through that can continue to support small. But it really is just, who do you know? Because then also from a service perspective, when we look at what helps folks feel well, when we look at well-being research, acts of service and giving back to our communities is part of that. And supporting small is going to make you feel that much better in an already hard season. And it's also going to help those that you love within your community or your sphere of influence feel that much better as well, because financially they're hopefully going to be taken care of through their businesses. So for me, it's researching, what do I need? Who's in this sphere of influence? Who's more local? How can I order from them? And then even the gifts that I'm asking for, considering local suppliers or local businesses to help us get me those gifts and those flowers coming through once a month. I'm really looking forward to it. One of the things that comes up when you're going through periods of transition or trauma is a couple of things. So your confidence when you're going through a significant trauma like we are with the global pandemic, your confidence decreases because things are more volatile, things are more uncertain. So what you can do for yourself in this holiday season, in this transition to 2021, a lot of us are like, well, how am I supposed to plan next year? I feel terrible. I don't know what I'm capable of rising to. I don't know what I'm capable of doing. My business is in shambles, or my family is overwhelmed, or we're bringing kids back home and I'm going to have to be teacher plus, working full time. There's so much intensity right now. So our confidence is shot, which means when we look at these challenges in front of us, we're not necessarily going to feel the most capable in overcoming them. But there are some things we can do to build that capability and that competence in ourselves. And that's one of the reasons why I brought up the inventory list of looking at this last year and saying to yourself, okay, look what I have overcome. Because we want to build positive momentum in a direction of change. So in order to do that, you have to say to yourself, I can do hard things. Look at what I've survived. Look at what I've overcome. And when you see it listed out, you're going to be so impressed with yourself and so proud of yourself for even the smallest things, like getting out of bed on hard days, like just taking care of yourself in the small ways that you could, shifting habits a little bit, or that period of time where maybe for 1 week this year you did meditate every year. We are going to take what we can. So once you have that inventory list, it's about building momentum off of that and looking at your life and saying, what can I control? We've done lockdown once before. We've been in this pandemic now for 9 or 10 months. And so we have a little bit of expertise in what it means to go through a global pandemic and what it means to survive lockdown. So in this second phase of things, ask yourself, what do I wish I would have done differently last time? And how can I shift that now? Because when you look at your sphere of control, that's going to make you build your confidence in yourself to say, okay, we did it like this last time. We can do it just this much better this time. So instead of resolutions for the whole year, take it month by month, or even just day by day. What are the daily habits you can put in place? When it comes to goal setting, there's 2 different types of goals that folks tend to go towards where they have success in achieving them. One is achievement-based goals. So like that half marathon that so many of us likely thought we were going to run in 2020. Or there's habit-based goals. So goals that you're implementing that require habits that take place every day. So if you focus on the small instead of the massive resolution that 2021 is going to be your best year ever, and saying, no, 2021 is going to be a year where I'm intentional every single day. I'm going to work on rebuilding my confidence. I'm going to work on focusing on what I can control. You're going to come out that much better. But planning as well, as my last point here, when we look at research around folks who had survived 9/11, task-based planning was a key aspect to the decreasing the likelihood of those folks experiencing PTSD. And so don't discount planning. Just because it feels hard right now, making your to-do list every day and checking a couple of things off is actually going to help pull you through this hard season more than you know. So just keep going. Congratulate yourself, assess what you can control, and then make those lists as often as you can, and be gentle with yourself and celebrate what you do get done on those lists. James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, he says this: habits are the compound interest of personal development. So if you have one habit, like 5 minutes of mindfulness in the morning, or that 5-minute check-in with your partner that you're trying to do every day, if that 5-minute compounds every single day, don't discount the small stuff. We're a world that celebrates the massive wins. But when I look at, and Donna and I were talking about, this is my wall of reminders of things I've survived or celebrated right behind me. When I look at those big moments, they're made up of the smallest of changes and the smallest of actions and the smallest of steps forward. So focus on the small and things that you want to improve and achieve.